See. Yep. Okay, we're all set. Welcome to our final in this year webinar with the topic Integrated Order and Staff Planning in SAP DMC. Thank you for your time and joining us today. We are very excited to share all the insights and content that we prepared for you today. As I've mentioned, we are recording this webinar and you are gonna receive all the materials that are gonna be presented here today by email that you've mentioned by the registration. And we can go to the next slide. Okay, people joining. So this is our agenda today. We're gonna start with a brief introduction about concircle for those who are not familiar with us yet. Then we will start with planning solution in SAP with comparison of Rio and other planning tools. And then we will dive into digital manufacturing cloud integrated planning and also the DMC execution. Then we will go to Rio end-to-end live demo. After that, to roadmap, and last but not least, Q&A. You can ask, you can put all your questions in the chat during the webinar, and we will answer them after that. And yes, whenever you have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. So, yes, about us. My name is Gera. I am responsible for marketing activities at concircle. Then we have Selen, our planning expert, senior consultant, and Christoph Lechner, the DMC master, also senior IT consultant at concircle. Here are our contacts, so you know that you have them. So about concircle, we are a consulting company for digitalization solutions in the areas of supply chain management, enterprise operations, and manufacturing. concircle was founded 12 years ago with the core vision of support industry vertical IT integration. And due to our focus, we had the honor of supporting over 150 mainly industrial clients in over 350 successful projects. We are dedicated to the European market and therefore focused on the DACH region and Central and Eastern Europe. We have the quarters in Vienna, in Bratislava, in Bingen am Rhein in Germany, and Winterthur in Switzerland. More to the industries and our portfolio you will find on our website. And please, please follow us on LinkedIn so you won't miss any events in the future. And there are going to be a lot next year, upcoming year. So yeah. That's the short introduction, and without overdue, we are going into the integrated order planning.
So hello everyone. Maybe short about myself. Maybe we already know each other in the other webinars. My name is Selam Marangozolu, and I'm working as a SAP PP consultant in concircle. And we will be presenting you together with my colleague Christoph the Rio part. But Rio is not the only planning solution that we are supporting in the SAP environment. We also have those other solutions, as you can see in those bubbles. So in concircle, the teams are divided into 3 teams, like the digital supply chain, digital enterprise core, and digital manufacturing. And all different teams are supporting different solutions of SAP. Some of them are the standard SAP solutions, some of them are SAP add-ons. As you can see here, for example, we can start with the digital supply chain, which is the aim of the supply chain team, is the designing global supply chain process. And here we do support 3 different solutions. As you can see, the ones starting with are our products, concircle products. The first one is the concircle demand planning tool, which is a more simple tool for forecasting activities. Then our digital supply chain team also supporting the PPDS solution with the new naming it's MPNS, Manufacturing Planning and Scheduling, and also for the long-term planning and more strategical planning, IBP solution. So what we have in the enterprise core is our own product, ConOS. Maybe some of you are already familiar, or I have already done the webinar before. We are not going too deep in the other solutions, but just the information, it is also a operation scheduling tool in your on-premise ECC system. Could be either R3 or S4. And also we are also supporting the S4 PP Fiori applications and also this conventional CRP solutions, capacity requirement planning solutions in SAP. But our focus would be the solution that our digital manufacturing team is supporting. And the aim of the digital manufacturing is increasing the productivity potential. But planning is also part of this productivity potential, is a huge part of this. And we will today introduce you the digital manufacturing cloud resource orchestration solution. So we all aware of the importance of the planning, but maybe just to show you what is the goal of these all different planning solutions, why we do have lots of different planning solutions, is actually the aim is to reach from top to shop. So to send the planning decisions or the high level decisions to the shop floor. And here there is a gap between top to shop, and this aim of this all solutions, planning solutions of SAP is aiming to bridge the gap between top floor and shop floor, transferring the planning decisions to the production at the right time. So I will then show you details about the concept, logical concept of all these solutions, but transferring the decisions at the right time is a really important point, because if we transfer the data earlier than it's needed or even later, so the right time in this part is the key point. And also the third point, allowing short-term plan changes due to unexpected reasons during production. So today we will also show you a business case, how the short-term changes can affect the planning. This is another important point, and transparent data flow from production to all other departments. So it is not just the top to shop, but also transferring the data from shop to top at the right time, so that then in the end we can improve our plan with the information coming from the shop floor. And the last one, the tracking the production performance and analyzing actual plan variance, as I mentioned, to fix our plan to fit better to the production. So all are these different products of SAP, or the ones that we produce, are actually aiming some different time horizons. So if you would think of this horizontal line as the time point from today till future, the positioning of the products, of the solutions, can be differentiated, like as you can see in this screen. So for the more short-term plan, we are aiming to use REO. So for the next shifts, next days, because REO is inside your execution solution, so in DMC, and it is also more close to what's happening in the production. So you can make the short-term changes and also get the information back from the shop floor and see this information directly in REO. As we position this, the role of this user could be the shift leader or the production planner inside the production line in the shop floor. And after that, like just to position themselves. So how you see here is that does not have to be in that way. Maybe in that way, the Konos would not be there, but after REO, you would start with the MPNS. But it is just a positioning of the products. So if you position Konos in between, then we can use Konos in days and weeks. So not that much short term as REO does, but also not that much long term as the other tools are doing. but they are both aiming, Reo and Konos, in that manner, aiming more interactive planning and sequencing of the orders during the production. After that, when the time goes, like when the orders for the next weeks and months, MPNS, Manufacturing Planning and Scheduling Solution, can be used. In this case, it is more like automated planning. It is also aiming definite scheduling and also having lots of the functionalities or the advantages of the MRP. Also can run the setup optimization. So it is more like an intelligent tool to plan your production, which the role would be the MRP planner, because in MPNS, it does not have to be just the production planning, but also the procurement tile is also, procurement part is also taking important part. But later, for the months and years, for more strategical planning, we can use IBP tool for the network optimization. So it is not just the production or procurement, it could be also financial strategies. So it is more like a network in between the departments. What is the strategical decisions? And this would be used by SNOP experts. We also would like to do some comparison, because right now we saw what could be the difference between the time horizons of those of the usage of these different products, but we would also go a little bit deeper in the functionalities of those products. So what are the functional differences? So if you compare, for example, Reo with ConOS, they are running in different technologies, that's for sure, but what we are trying to show here is more about the functionalities. So if you compare the end user experience, Reo and Konos, they are both UI applications. So actually they're in the same, they're having similar user experiences, but in that manner, we would put Konos a little bit more beneficial than Reo because of its flexibility, because the end user experience can change with the need of customer or with the need of users. So therefore, this is more beneficial in that manner. The other point, as for ERP integration, Reo is part of DMC, would need an interface with your ECC system. Konos, in this case, is already a part of your ECC system, so it would not need any interface. Automated planning, Reo is more improved or can be used for the automated planning better than Konos, because in Reo you would have chance in this dispatching and monitoring app, the chance to use some heuristics or planning the backlog operations at the same time. So this kind of automatization is also existing in Reo. Analytics in Reo, we would give more point to Reo because not in the dispatching and monitoring app, but for example, in the schedule labor app, you also have to have this ability to see the KPIs, which my colleague will show you today. MRP capabilities, Reo, as we said, it's an execution tool, like a part of execution. It's a planning tool, but a part of execution environment. And MRP is part of your enterprise system. So here in ConOS, we would be able to show more information about the MRP, also ATP maybe for the missing parts. We can give a little bit more credit to Konos. Technology stack is the biggest difference between those products, because Reo is in the cloud environment, which is the environment that would be that is like improving itself really quickly. And with the technology stack, we can give Reo the biggest point. Extensibility is now in cloud environment. It's getting like more suitable for the extensibility, but for the existing point where we are right now, Konos is more extendable. Execution integration is, I think I don't have to mention, as it is directly in your execution system. Hardware invest and software costs are maybe some points that you can we can compare, but they are completely in different technologies. So this big difference in technology stack is also making some differences in the hardware invest and software costs. So I will not go that much deeply in this last 2 points. The other comparison is between Reo and MPNS, like the new PPDS. With the end user experience, we would say they're sitting in the same position. So the beneficiency is in the middle. As for ERP integration, we mentioned the same with Konos. MPNS in S4 is directly integrated to your ECC system, so it's a little bit more beneficial. Automated planning is a job of MPNS, so there is actually nothing to compare about this. Analytics, we put it in the same position. Maybe we could give some more points to MPNS in that manner, but let's keep it in that way. MRP capabilities is again the job of MPNS, so there's also nothing to discuss. Technology stack, Rail is in cloud, MPNS still not in the cloud, so it is also one of the biggest difference. Extensibility is MPNS is more extensible right now at that point of time. Maybe 1 year later, they will be in the same position. Execution integration is the same as the Rail Konos comparison. And again, hardware invest, software costs is a point that we cannot evaluate that much because the technology is completely different from each other. So now I will give to my colleague. He will then explain you more details about DMC.
So thank you, Celine. Also, hello from my side. Yeah, I will also start the presentation, and you should also see my screen again. So before we go to our system demo of Reo, just a quick introduction. I'm sure lots of you know what DMC is, but just a quick reminder here. So DMC, SAP Digital Manufacturing Cloud. It's a fully cloud-based MES system. It can work standalone, but normally it's integrated in your ERP landscape. That's what you can also see here on this slide. So you can integrate with your S/4HANA system. You can also integrate with your ECC system to certain limitations. You can, of course, also integrate with your S/4HANA cloud system, so a private or public cloud system. And the idea is basically that you create all your master data in your ERP system, also all your order data, and those data gets downloaded to your digital manufacturing cloud, and there you do your manufacturing execution process, and then you report back to your ERP system. The digital manufacturing cloud itself consists of 3 components. You have the manufacturing execution part on the right in the middle of the slide. So that's really the order execution with quality management integration, with external warehouse management integration, and so on. In the middle, you see the manufacturing insights. That is basically your analytical functionality within DMC. There is key performance indicators, KPIs that you can use out of the box. There is also some analytical dashboards you can use out of the box. And of course, you can also create your own KPIs and your own dashboards to analyze your production processes. And last but not least, resource orchestration. That's what we will talk about today. Resource orchestration is your scheduling and planning option and functionality within the SAP Digital Manufacturing Cloud. 2 more integration scenarios just to briefly mention. There's an integration scenario with manufacturing execution, so SAP's on-premise solution for manufacturing execution. I mean, with the shift to cloud, it's getting less important somewhat, but nevertheless, the integration scenario exists. And what's very important in this context is you could plan your orders in Reo and then execute them here in the manufacturing execution. And bottom of the slide, of course, also we have the possibility with plant connectivity to include, well, real-time shop floor data, sensor data in our execution process. So that just a quick brief introduction in what is SAP Digital Manufacturing Cloud. We have more extensive description of that in previous webinars that are also available online. So I'll keep it at that for now, and you can of course also ask questions if you have questions on that. So right into the topic. Resource orchestration, REO, what is it? Well, it's a cloud-based scheduling tool, fully integrated in the DMC. It has three main features. The big outstanding feature is, of course, dispatching and scheduling, which we will also show later on in our live demo. And two more features are the schedule labor feature and the schedule tools feature. I will give a quick theoretical input on that, and then we will jump right to the system and we will show you. Schedule tools, you can basically, as you can see in the screenshot, you can have your tools. I created some dummy tools, think of a torque wrench or whatever you might need in an assembly process, for example. And you can assign those tools to work centers and also to working days. So I have here a tool which is assigned on Monday, the 5th of December to this work center here. What's very important, I think Selene will show you also later on in this outstanding feature, the dispatching and monitoring app, you can also see the tools that are allocated beforehand to work centers. And what you can also have here is a tools report. So you can basically have a report where you see which tool is assigned to which work center in which time slots. Next thing, schedule labor. That's basically your shift planning. So you can see the workers that are assigned to you. You can make a shift plan. You can assign your workers to resources or to work centers. You can create shift plans. You can also send those shift plans to your workers so they know when they are working. There's a KPI bar, which you can already see here in the screenshot, but I will say more about that in the system demo. There is out-of-the-box reports that you can use. And there is also alerts that basically alert you if a work center does not have enough workers assigned to it. We will also see that in the demo later on. Yeah, and then to the dispatching and monitoring, that's the planning solution itself. So in the dispatching and monitoring, you can monitor, schedule, dispatch operations of orders to your resources. You can already see that a bit. So that would be the resource, and that's the single operations assigned to it. You can already see it's with a date and a time, so you know exactly when an operation is performed, or at least you can plan when an operation is supposed to be performed. You have different screen areas, so work list and a dispatching area. You have multiple dispatching actions, also scheduling options. Selene will later on explain more about that. You have the full integration, as I already mentioned, of the tools that you planned beforehand and of the labor, so the workers that you planned beforehand. You have a very big information area where you can see all the information about your orders, and you can of course personalize your settings. So you see some red frames and some violet squares. That's all well, a topic of your personalization and of the settings that you're making. So that much just for a quick theoretical input. We will now go to the demo, and Selene and we thought of a little scenario that we will wrap around our demo. So I'm a shift leader, so I'm a leader of a few workers, of a few operators, and I will schedule their absence and presence, and I will basically do a shift plan for my operators. And the scenario that I would ask you to keep in mind is that one of the operators assigned to me has informed me earlier today that there will be an absence in the next few days, so I will plan that in. And Selene is the production planner, and she will, well, plan in operations to work centers, and she will of course have to react to the fact that I don't have enough people in the upcoming days. yeah, so much for that. So now I will change from PowerPoint to, yes, I want to continue working. I will switch now directly to the digital manufacturing cloud. So we already see the system in front of us. Well, it's of course a Fiori dashboard, and of course we have Fiori apps here. Here on top, you can see one more time quickly those 4 apps that I also already mentioned in the Fiori part. So schedule tools, where you plan your tools, schedule labor, where you plan your workers. There is also a few labor schedule, which is very interesting to use also. That's basically the same as the schedule labor, but it doesn't. It is just read only. So you can hear as I can plan my team, and my team can then use this app to just view what I planned. Yeah, and then here we have the dispatching and monitoring app. So if I jump into the schedule labor app, I will just quickly explain what we can see here. First thing, what we can see here is we can see my team. It's anonymous, but imagine 9 different names of actual people. We can also see some additional information of those people. So for example, we can see that someone is 100% allocated already. I will say in a second what that means. So here we have the workers, and the workers assigned to me. There might be hundreds of additional workers in this company, in this fictional company, but that's my team. There is some outside customizing where simply people are assigned to my user. What we see here in the middle part is the actual shift plan. So I already made a plan for this week. Yes, we see the week from December 11th to December 17th. We see green and blue squares. That's basically 2 different shifts. So the blue squares, that's the morning shift from 6 till 2, and the green squares, that's the afternoon shift from 2 till 10. And with the bigger print, we can see the work center that some workers are assigned to. So the worker month 01 is assigned on the whole week to the green shift and to the work center COMI P2. On top of the screen, we see some KPIs, as I already promised. We see, first of all, the capacity. We see a capacity of 360 hours. 9 workers are assigned to me. The workers itself work 40 hours a week, so that's 360 hours. We see demand hours. The demand hours are the hours based on orders that with their date fall into this week. So from Monday 12 to Friday 16, my team has to perform 266 hours, 0.3 of work. We see work center allocation. So what we can see here, one worker, one operator is not assigned to anything. That's why only 320 hours are actually assigned to any work center. That's the 8 that are actually assigned. For every shift that you have your KPI. So we can see we have 4 operators in the green shift. We have 4 of them in the blue shift, so 160, 160. Currently, no one is absent. That's what we will plan in very soon. And we are also not doing any overtime. So Monday to Friday, that's exactly what's the plan. What I want to quickly show before we plan that someone is absent is how can I now create such a shift plan. So I will jump to the next week. The next week is completely blank. Nothing is planned yet. I can always assign a shift. So this person works now in the shift 2. I can assign a work center. So this person now works on this work center. I can, of course, also do that for the whole week. So I don't need to do that like one by one. I can also assign multiple people at the same time to the same shift. I can assign multiple people with very few clicks to the same work center. So what you've seen in front of you now, that's basically how you create your shift plan. Once you're done with that, you can save. And now we see a warning. We see that some constraints are violated. And if you click on that, you can see here a screen that basically alerts you that I have work centers. Here's my work center, and the work center is not yet planned with people. That's the master data of the work center. So the work center knows it always needs at least one person assigned to it. And that just helps me with my planning, right? Nevertheless, I can save. Yeah, and I can just proceed with my planning at some point later on. What I also want to show you is a very convenient option, and that is probably an option that is often used in reality also. I can, for example, mark the current shift plan of this week, and I also can copy that forward to the next week. So I marked 2 operators with their shift, and we are now in the week 50, and I will just copy that forward to the week 51. I will also copy the work center, and I will also override this playing around that I just did a minute ago. I can generate the plan. Now I have those 2 operators planned in for December 18th to December 24th. If I press OK, I jump right to this next week, and we can also see that. So this one and this one is now planned in. What we also have is a monthly view, but the monthly view is a read-only view. You cannot change anything here, but you can now see, okay, like for the whole December, I can see all my operators and how their shifts are planned. Can jump back to the weekly view. I can always easily navigate to today. And 2 more things that I want to show, and then we will plan the absent operator. We have reports. We have a work center report where I can see all my work centers that I plan operators to, and how many hours are actually already supplied with operators. So this work center has 80 hours of, well, people assigned to it. And there is also a weekly labor report that basically shows what I'm planning from the point of view of the operator. So that's an operator. Imagine an actual name for that. So Mont01 is actually a name of an operator. And this operator is assigned to this work center on December 12, 13, 14, and so on. Has to start working every day at 2 p.m. and has to work every day till 10 in the evening. And what I think is quite a useful feature also is you can also actually download that to a file. And this file, well, basically displays that also in an Excel sheet, and with that you can very easily inform all your workers when they have to work actually. Back to here. Just to quickly remind you of the scenario that we set. We said that an operator informed me of being absent tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. So how do I do that now? I have already, we will take this operator here, and this operator is planned the whole week in the shift 1 on the work center COMI P2. And now I can just mark those 2 days. I can assign an unavailability. There is different reasons for being unavailable. You can be on a leave, you can be on a training. For this webinar, we will just use this unplanned feature. You can also set time slots, so you can also be absent for not just the whole shift, but only for 2 hours. I'll press OK. Now you can also see here in gray that this operator is absent, unplanned. I will save that. Shift plan has been saved. Unplanned absenteeism. And well, that's the end of schedule labor, and we will now continue with dispatching and monitoring, and for that I will hand over to Celine again.
So thank you, Christoph. So I will now take over the screen. I hope you see my screen now. So what do I have? What is my responsibility in this business scenario is actually fitting my order plan by using the latest updates that Christoph just did in the scheduled labor app. So in this case, I just defined this dispatching and monitoring application for myself, because normally I actually don't need that much application. So I'm just going directly into my dispatching and monitoring application. So here what I have is actually the list of the operations that I have to plan, and also the list of the resources that I am responsible for. So maybe just before doing my doing the business scenario, we can go through these functionalities and features of the dispatching and monitoring application. Here I already defined the variant there, so I could have defined different variants, but this variant that in this case, we are producing a 3D printing machine. So therefore, this is the name in German for this printing machine. And in this variant, what I can define is actually I have lots of different definition of the variants. I have lots of different selection parameters. It could be either a work center or resource, in this case, that I'm just responsible for the planning of the commissioning resource. I could even select actually the orders that I would like to plan, but in this case, all of these orders are relevant for my planning, especially with this material, this DMC Drucker TU. This is the name of the material number, and also the material. Here, what I can also define as a selection parameter, not just a date picker, like in this case, we will just show this December plan, but you can also define the range of the time horizon. So it does not have to be the fixed times, but could be like plus 5 days and so. So here, but we have the date picker. This was about the filtering options and what can we save inside the variant. So what about the visualization? What do we visualize here? Here in the upper part, we see the resources that I am responsible for. But the most important thing maybe to understand about Reo compared to other planning tools, Reo is not just considering machine as the resource. For Reo, the people are also resource, the tools are also resource. So it is giving the information of all of them. So how do I see this information? Here, maybe I just see the machine. But down there, I'm also able to see the labor relevant with this machine, or the tools that are relevant for this machine. So here, for example, maybe since we are already there, I can show you. So here with the plan of Christoph, yesterday was everything okay. Today still with the labor, I don't have any warning there, but for tomorrow, because of the change that he has done, because of the absence of this person, I do see some red information there. And the reason is that actually the work center is waiting for one person to be assigned, but this person is unavailable at that point. I actually have the still chance to allocate some other people to my resource for that point of time. So, for example, I can just check out who is also working in this early shift. So these are the people that are working in the early shift. But here, the intention is not to change the labor plan. It is the responsibility of Christoph. So I will then change, with respect to this short-term notice, I will change the planning of my orders. But let's keep on. What are the functionalities? So besides labor, I also see the tools that are assigned to my machine. So I do see what are the tools that are assigned with the schedule tools app. Again, I still have the chance to deallocate it, but this is not the intention right now. So if you go more about the visualization options here, for example, I do see in the upper part only the planning of the first operation, because in our case, for producing this 3D printer, Commissioning is the first operation, and there are some other 4 operations, assembly operations, and in the end, the qualification. But since we defined commissioning as a bottleneck resource, I'm doing the planning of the bottleneck resource, and the other operations will then reschedule themselves. If I would like to see still what are the next operations for this order, maybe let's go for the first operation here. So if I would like to see then the related operations, then system is showing me also visual in the Gantt diagram and also on the right frame which operation is dispatched. The others are not dispatched in that case, but I'm able to follow the relationship between the operations of the same order. More about the visualization here. Here we see, for example, the orders from yesterday. These orders, as expected, are already produced yesterday. So I do see the progress coming from the execution. So these orders are 100% completed. Here, somehow yesterday, from execution, I got at the same time more confirmations. So therefore, I have some overlaps there. Maybe it is also important information that I can share with you about Rayon. For example, if I have planned some orders for tomorrow, and if I execute them today, like if they're 100% done today, then the system deletes this operation from tomorrow so that the planner would be informed that there is a free space there. So actually, in that case, the overlaps happened there is because of the fast confirmations at the same time. So those were the operations that are done. For today, I have already released those operations. So the release operations are having this gray coloring. And for tomorrow, I have planned these operations for the mainly for the morning shift. This coloring, this legend, we can see also here. That here in this case, for example, the activities of the work of the operations are mainly processed, so there is no setup time or tear down time for those operations, but they would also be displayed if you have these times. And also the release ones are gray, as you can see here. So this was about the visualization. Also, I'm able to see the not working times, the shift times. So here, for example, I do have some break between 11:30 till 12, and also again another break. These are the details about the visualization. But what we have as the functionality here, some functionalities are more like user experience functionalities. So fitting this screen as so that the user can use it easily. Also here, for example, we have some navigation options going to the start date of the planning horizon, because I just defined only December from 12th, I guess from 24th of December. So it is just going to the start or the end of the time planning horizon, or go to current date, or could be selected date. So these are more like the usability features. The functional features that we have here, these dispatching functions. So here we have some, if you remember in the comparison, I mentioned that automatic dispatching is more advanced in Rayon compared to ConOS, because here we can use the heuristics. So you can say, I just want to plan my backlog orders, past due orders. Or I would like to use this machine learning, like finding slot mode, so another planning strategy there. And also some reporting options here that I can say, what are the last released orders, or what are the last scheduled orders, so the system is showing me. And I also have the option to download these information from Rayon. What else we also have is the dispatching part. So in the dispatching part, we have, of course, this dispatching functionality. What does it mean, dispatch? Actually taking the orders from the work list and putting them to the upper part and plan them onto resource. We can also deallocate them at the same time. We can fix those operations so that nobody would be able to push them to the future or to earlier time point. And the other one is the releasing orders. This is maybe a little bit a technical part, because to get the orders in your Rayo applications, these orders has to be, meaning the standard way of doing this integration. These orders has to be released in your ECC system in order to show them in Rayo. But it does not mean that if you see this order, it does not mean you're also seeing this order in the operator dashboard, because they also have to be released in your DMC environment. So in this case, for example, these orders are released for today. So a production operator of commissioning is able to see those I guess 8 operations. But even that I planned those 5 operations for tomorrow, they will not be able to see them in the dashboard. But I can, as the production planner, I can also release them here, which I will be doing after fixing this issue here. Scheduling, here we have some different scheduling strategies, as you may already aware of in the different other products. Infinite or finite scheduling, like actually finding slot is the finite scheduling strategy, or direction forward or backward, shift breaks. Can I put one order in the break or not? Or can I put it in should I put it in the primary resource, or can I put it in the alternative resources? The other one is the shift plan, that I am able to see what Christoph did for the shift planning. I am also able to see which laborers, which people actually having which qualifications to do this job. And SFC view is another view of so like that I can select one and then I can see the SFC view. So in this case, for example, this one is released. So it should have 2 SFCs. So this is the order itself, but this number, this shop floor control, this number would be 2, because there is a fixed lot size concept. So even if my order is 10 pieces, system creates 2 SFCs with each 5 pieces. More information, order view, some more details about the tools are also existing. Splitting orders, undoing functionalities also there. Maybe just to be faster. Also, we have the settings here so that you can also play around with the visualization or the shaping, the coloring of these objects. So in this case, I defined as lila. I can define which notifications I would like to see. If I would like to update this date information back in my ECC system or not, can be activated or deactivated. And some other functionalities for production process and monitoring the completed and hold orders. So what we mentioned, that fixing this issue that has happened here. So here I do have a problem in the morning shift. So my job is right now to update my order plan so I can push my orders here. This green area shows me the resource that I have to plan, and the upper vertical line is showing actually the time that I have to plan my order. In this case, I'm not catching the dates, but still I have to do this change because of the absence of the operator. So I can do this change. I can also somehow play around with it, but then in the end, when this new sequence is saved, then it can be seen in all other applications in DMC. And when I select with the control and select these operations, then I can release those orders. And after those release, then the production operator will see these orders also in a production order dashboard. So I am a bit over time, I guess. I would like to show you also the roadmap. I just need to also sharing. So Shortly about the roadmap, we will then share this presentation with you. But what had happened till now in the improvement in the development of REA and what will come in the next year. So maybe the key factors that we right now have this dispatching and monitoring 2.0 app, which has more functionalities, and also we have this backward update, which is actually one of the most important points, because till that version, the changes that we have done in REO was not saved back in ECC system. So right now it is also possible to save this date changes back to S4 or ERP. So those actually the key factor. What will come actually would be the interesting part is the integration of SAP SuccessFactors with labor scheduling. So some of the informations that just Christoph entered manually, some will then will come automatically from the SuccessFactors, and complex overlapping capabilities will be available. Schedule operations with precedence relations, and also what is important, that scheduling based on rules to handle unscheduled downtimes. So the unscheduled downtimes will also be considered during the planning, which will be coming in the third quarter of the next year. And it is right now, I think, not officially announced, but since we are doing right now a DMC project and we are really close with SAP, working close with SAP together, we also know that with the end of next year, process industry functionalities will also come to REO. If you would be interested, you can check on this link below. So in this link, you will be also informed of all the features, not just of REO, but also other parts of DMC. So we have 5 minutes left. If you have any questions.
We have a question in the chat. Maybe Selena, it's for you, how to assign shift overtime to operator in scheduled labor.
No, I think that's actually
for you.
Actually for my part.
Okay.
So it basically works like that I have shifts, the blue and the green squares that we've seen, and those shifts have included that the Saturday and the Sunday is off. So I can now in a managed shift app, I can make, for example, the Saturday a working day. And if I then plan someone onto a Saturday, that would be overtime.
Thank you. Any other questions? Christoph also answered the capacity KPIs already in the chat. Yes, we have another question. How the integration between PPDS and DMC with alternative routings?
I would say that this alternative definition needs to be defined in REO itself. So not just in the REO, but if you go to the Managed Work Center app, for example, in DMC, you also need to additionally define this alternatives, because in this case, what DMC works is, if we go more into details, it is not just the work center level, but the individual capacities level. So how it is defined in PPDS, it's more in the work center level, how you define the alternative routings. But